Today is my 58th day working on board the cruise ship Costa Smeralda at reception as a hospitality operator. And today we are in Port Elizabeth, a city in the South African Republic. Today I started working early in the morning, but I never miss breakfast, no matter how early I start to work. I went to the crew mess using the long corridor that we have on deck 3 that runs all the way from the very front to the back of the ship. And it's like a secret street only for crew. On the walls here there are big maps of the ship with fire and safety plans, and also boards with all the main information, like health tips, a board with events and activities, security updates, and important news for crew. My cabin is located in the forward part of the ship, and the crew mess is at the back of the ship, on deck 4, one deck up. I like it that the crew mess on our ship works from 6:30 a.m. until 1:15 a.m., with only short breaks between breakfast, lunch and dinner. We have self-service in the mess. We take a tray with plates, bowls and cutlery, and we can get as much food as we want. For breakfast, we have eggs, sausages, some bacon, meat and porridge. We always have steamed rice, as we have a lot of crew members from Southeast Asia and India, and they eat rice during all meals. We have potatoes, some croissants and donuts. There are vegetables available, cheeses, salami, fruits, different types of cornflakes and yogurts, and of course tea and coffee. I try to eat more or less healthy, but the bakery products here are very tasty, so I guess I will put on a lot of weight by the end of my contract. On every table there is a sign asking us to take only the amount of food that we are able to eat to avoid food waste. And if you still feel hungry, you can always go and get more food. I always take some fruits or croissants with me to the office to make sure that I never stay hungry. On the ship, we have to always separate trash. After eating, if there are some food leftovers, some shells or bones, we need to put them to an appropriate bin. All food is divided into hard food and soft food. They are processed in a different way later, so they have to be separated. We also have to separate all the dishes, bowls, cups and cutlery so that the workers of the galley that wash dishes can do it faster. And at the exit, of course, there is a station for washing hands. After breakfast, I went directly to work. This time, I took a crew elevator to deck 7 and walked to the office from the open promenade deck for crew. To get there, we have to cross a small part of a guest area, but usually there are no people there. Still, we cannot cross there if we are not wearing our uniform. So I went to the open deck with lifeboats and life rafts, and there are also smoking areas for crew here. Whenever possible, I always try to walk from outside here on the promenade to get some fresh air. In the morning, we also had an emergency drill for all crew. Usually drills are done when we are docked in a port. So the other shift from reception that started work in the afternoon and had all morning free could not go out for a walk in Port Elizabeth because of the drill. I slept only 2.5 hours last night, because yesterday we had a crew party and I slept late, and today I started working at 7 a.m. But it's okay, it's what I call the real crew life. I just finished first part of my shift. I worked till 12 p.m. and now I'm going to change and go out to explore the city. I was very curious to see the city, located so far in the South Africa. It's like on the edge of the world. But we also got several leaflets from our company saying that it is not safe, so we should be super cautious when going out. Especially the area next to the cruise port is very unsafe, so we were warned not to walk there, but to take a shuttle bus or taxi and go in groups. I wanted to meet some local people to learn more about the city, and I posted a public trip on the Couchsurfing application saying that I will be in Port Elizabeth today and would love to meet up. And some people reached out to me. I agreed to meet with a local girl here. She said that she would come to pick me up from the port. In Port Elizabeth, there is no cruise terminal. Cruise ships dock at a pier in a working harbor, and there is nothing on the territory of it. There is a security post at the entrance, so the territory is safe. Kia came with her mother. They were waiting for me with their car at the entrance.
Like we received a letter from the company that this area, port area, is not safe. Like please be careful.
I'm very glad that they warned you.
And the first thing they did, they took me on a tour around the city and told me a lot of interesting facts about it. They turned out to be descendants of the Dutch settlers that came here centuries ago. So they are also considered kind of local people of Africa, but white locals.
There's a lot of restoration going on, but you will see the Catholic Church of St. Augustine's here on your left. It's a really lovely building. We have a couple of very beautiful sandstone churches.
What is this?
It's an art installation.
Art installation.
But they're cool.
Kia's mother was very, very sweet and knowledgeable. She told me many interesting stories about the city, and I was so happy that I met them.
That's the biggest flag in South Africa.
First, we went to see a pretty green hill that is called the Duncan Reserve, where there is a stone pyramid, a lighthouse, and next to them a big, colorful mosaic. This mosaic shows a lot of things from life in the Eastern Cape and Port Elizabeth, like people who lived here long ago, animals from this area, behaviors of settlers, sheep, and ocean life. Nearby, there was also this artwork where at the front stands a metal outline of Nelson Mandela.
Election. So you can see people lining up to vote.
And it's a tribute to the first democratic election in the country that took place in 1994. Then we had a ride through the city, enjoying beautiful city's architecture. Many buildings are from the colonial times, made by the British, and there are also Dutch-style buildings from the early settlers at the Cape.
So they are also very old, yeah?
We also came to a viewpoint in a park, surrounded by a very beautiful natural greenery. Actually, the story of Port Elizabeth starts a long time ago. The first Europeans that were passing by here were the Portuguese explorers in the 14th century. Later, in the 1700s, Dutch farmers spread east from Cape Town and began living on this territory. The biggest change came in 1820 when about 4,000 British settlers arrived here. They built farms, shops, schools and churches, and the small town began to grow around the harbor. Sir Ruthven Duncan, a British governor, named it Port Elizabeth in memory of his late wife. Together with the local Xhosa people, all these cultures shaped the history of the city.
Electricity in town again. So the one part of the city doesn't have water.
After the tour around the city, we brought Kia's mother home and they showed me around their house. It was very, very sweet. It was interesting to see how people live here, but I didn't take videos inside the house. We only took some photos. Then we went with Kia to another part of the city, to a shopping mall, and I decided to go and buy some sweets. Actually, there is always good food on board, but we do not have everything. There is no chocolate in the crew mess, there are only few snacks in the crew bar under payment, so you can buy some things only outside. We also took some local bakery products so that we can make a picnic outside. Kia also showed me the most famous local snacks called biltong, which is a type of dried and cured meat with a special taste, but I didn't have the courage to get it. For me, it looked very strange. There was also a fair inside the shopping center with some homemade things and souvenirs, and Kia bought me a wooden magnet to remember this place. By the way, local money, South African rands, are very beautiful with images of wild animals. We also passed a souvenir shop and I really like the African crafts and handmade things here. Actually, Port Elizabeth is now called Gqeberha. I really hope that I pronounce it correctly. The name was changed in 2021. It comes from the nearby Gqeberha River and has roots in the Xhosa language, which is widely spoken in the Eastern Cape. Many places in South Africa have been given new names to honor local history and culture instead of keeping the old colonial names. But I will call the city Port Elizabeth as it's much easier to pronounce. I hope you don't mind. Then we went outside. We went to see a beach located very close to the shopping center, just on the other side of the road. We were told that here in the city center it was safe for foreigners. By the way, I learned later that some of our guests, even though they were also warned that they should not walk next to the port area, decided to walk to the city center, and they were robbed by some local people that approached them with a gun. They took their phones and some money that they had with them, unfortunately. We came to the King's Beach that looked very, very beautiful. We wanted to sit on the sand there, but it was very windy and the sand was coming up in the air, coming to our faces, so we decided to come back to the shopping center and sit on the grass next to it. We made a little picnic. I tried some interesting local soft drink and different local baked things. I don't know their names and what exactly was inside, but they tasted very well. Kia also recommended me some local sweets, so it was cool to try something new sitting on the grass in a South African city. I thanked Kia for the amazing day and I said that I would go back to the ship with a shuttle bus. It was going right from the shopping center to our ship. There were a lot of other crew members and some guests coming back to the ship, and my friend showed a beautiful souvenir that she bought today. It was nice to watch one more time beautiful architecture of the city, but my eyes were really closing because of the lack of sleep. So I could take a very short nap, because soon we arrived to the ship and I needed to change and go to work again. By the way, the gangway here in Port Elizabeth was very narrow. I saw it for the first time that I'm working here. So people could not walk in both directions at the same time. First, you need to wait if somebody is going down until they go all the way to the pier. And some people walk very, very slowly, and only then you can go up. And this created some traffic jams. Now I'm going to work for 3.5 hours more, and in the evening I'm planning to meet some other people that live here. We have an overnight in Port Elizabeth. We arrived in the morning and we are going to leave the port only tomorrow. So I want to use this opportunity to go out in the evening, and I guess I'll sleep when I'm dead. In the evening, even though it was during my working hours, but as we were not busy at all, I went to watch a show of an amazing interport artist that we are going to have on board for a very short time. His name is Vikos, and I really loved his voice and his charisma. I finished the second part of my shift at 8:30 p.m. and even though I barely slept last night, I decided to go out again to meet some other people. Actually, it was the first time for me that we had an overnight in a port, because normally we always stopped in ports only for one day. We came to ports in the morning and left in the evening. We could go out only during the daytime, so it was nice and special to be out at night. I agreed to meet with one couple, again from the couchsurfing application, that are also living in Port Elizabeth. They picked me up at the same spot, at the security stand at the port entrance, where we met at the daytime with Kia and her mother. We came to some cool local bar. This couple also invited their friend. So we were 4 people, living in very different parts of the world, seeing each other for the first time, but feeling like we've been really good friends for a long time. We were talking about everything in the world, and it was very interesting to hear their stories about life in this part of the planet. I really enjoyed this evening. Then they brought me back to the port and left me at the security post. It was very weird but cool to come back to the ship at night for the first time. It's our second day in Port Elizabeth and I was not able to go out because our shift worked from early in the morning until 2:30 p.m. today and the ship's departure was at 3 p.m. so there was no time to go outside. But anyway, yesterday I saw the city already, so it's okay. During my break at work, I decided to get some sleep. That's what I really needed now. So I didn't mind at all that they gave the other shift enough time to go out today in Port Elizabeth. They were free until 2:30 p.m., as yesterday they could not go out because of the drill.